All right, amazing students. We're going to go ahead and check number 96 through 99. Carefully check your work, okay? So for number 1 on problem 196, it asks us to multiply the expressions using the giant 1. Now the giant 1, really quickly, what does the giant 1 even mean? What is 6 divided by 6? 6 divided by 6 is 1. So that means if you multiply by 1, they should be equivalent. Okay, so for this first one, we're supposed to multiply the numerators. If we multiply the numerators, we're going to get 9 times 6 is 54. If you got that right, good job. Now the denominators, we have to also multiply the denominators. 25 times 6 is 150. And that would be an equivalent expression. Rewriting each fraction, we got that. We rewrote it. Okay, next up, number 2, 6 times 3 would be 18. And 15 times 3 would be 45. And that would be our answer. Multiplying the numerators and the denominators. Okay, let's go ahead and check number 197 here. Deanna is trying to compare these two ratios, these two fractions. She knows that if she can rewrite the fractions to have the same what? Yeah, the same denominator, then comparing them becomes easy. If you did this problem, you're actually going to notice it's pretty easy to compare them once you've actually rewrote the fractions. So we're going to look at the number 7 and the number 5. What is the common denominator of 7 and 5? What's the smallest number they all go into? Hopefully you notice the smallest number they go into is 35. So we're going to rewrite these fractions as a number over 35. That's right. So now what do we multiply 7 by to get to 35? You got it. 5 over 5. And what do we multiply 5 by to get to 35? 5 times what is 35? Yeah, if you said 7, that is correct. Good job. Okay, so now just like we did on problem number 96, we're going to do the same for problem number 97 and multiply the numerators and denominators. So 5 times 3 or 3 times 5, you should have got 15. Good job if you got that. And 7 times 2 or 2 times 7 would be 14. Now, let's compare these two fractions here. Which one is bigger? Yeah, look how easy it is to compare them now. Once you have the answer written as a common denominator, you can see which number is bigger, okay? So the bigger fraction would be 15 over 35, which was the same as 3 over 7, okay? So 3 over 7 is bigger. This is the bigger fraction because 15 is bigger than 14. Very good. Okay, let's move on to problem number 1. Oh, that's something else here. What's that say? Here we are. Okay. 198. Families of fractions. Okay, families of fractions. So did you know that you can rewrite fractions in many different ways? For example, if we multiply, I'll do the first one times 2. If we multiply the numerator and denominator times 2, we're going to get 14 over 28. If you wrote that one down, good. If you didn't, please write this one down too, because this question asks us to write down 3 new fractions that are equivalent, okay? So that's one. Another thing you could do is multiply by other numbers like 10 or 5 or 7. So I know in the previous class, someone told me to multiply by 7, and I was like, that is brilliant. What do you get if you multiply the numerator and denominator by 7? What do you get? So 7 times 7 is 49, and 12 times 7 is 84. So if you don't have that one down, write them down. It's another equivalent fraction. There's a lot of equivalent fractions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do another one that's so popular, so common, is multiplying by 10, right? Multiplying by 10 is pretty easy. To multiply by 10, all you need to do is add a 0. So if you add a 0, you would get 70 over what? Yeah, 70 over 120. And that would be another way to write that fraction. They're all equivalent fractions. They're all the same. Okay. Next up is going to be letter B. So letter B says write 3/10 as other types of fractions. So I'm going to only show you one here. Or should I do multiple? Let's see. Let's do the times 2 and the times 10. Okay. If I double these numbers, 3/10 times 2, I will get 6 over what? Yeah, if I double everything, the numerator and the denominator, I'll get 6 over 20. That's one correct answer. Okay, and now if I multiply by 10, the other one, I will get 30 over 100. Okay, and you can do the one that's times 7 or times 5 or whatever number you multiplied by, okay? For this last one, letter C, I just wanted to show you one little thing. Did you know you can also divide them? For example, letter A. Can you simplify letter A? The answer is no. Can you simplify letter B? The answer is no. But letter C can be simplified. It can be reduced fractions. So for letter C, we can reduce this to 3 over 9 if we divide by 3. Or, let me actually use a different color here. If I divide by 3 on the numerator and denominator, I will get 3 over 9. Did you get that one? If you did, that's great. And then one more. If I divide by 9 over 9, I would get what? 1/3. So remember, you don't always just multiply fractions. You can also divide fractions to get smaller and reduced answers. Otherwise, you can make them extremely huge fractions if you wanted to by multiplying by numbers like 10 or even 100. So this would be another equivalent fraction. All right, I think you did really good on that one. Okay, last one is number 99. The only one I want to mention about number 99 is, what if you have 3 different denominators? What do you do? What happens if you have 3 different denominators? Let's talk about this one very shortly, very quickly, okay? So if you have 8, 16, and 32, what is the least common multiple, or the smallest denominator that they all go into? What number do they all go into? Question. Do they all go into 64? The answer is yes, they do. But is there a smaller number they can go into? If you said the smallest number they all go into is 32, that would be the correct answer. That is the least common denominator of all 3 of these fractions. So comparing these 3 fractions, you will get some answers. And I want you to go ahead and compare with the person next to you. Then I'm going to show you 2 poll questions. And finally, what is your homework for today? Okay. All right.